Hi class, welcome to Grammar Section 1.1, a review of the parts of speech, and more importantly, of sentence construction. It's grammar time.
Stop. Hammer time.
One of the first things I want you to understand is that we don't study grammar just to torture you. Not just. Good grammar does multiple things. Good grammar promotes clear communication in which all parties understand the rules that are in play and understand how the words and sentences being used are intended to be perceived. Probably more importantly, good grammar has influence. Or maybe it's more fair to say that bad grammar has a negative influence. If you're a prospective employee and you're writing a cover letter to your hopeful job, having it littered with silly mistakes, misplaced commas, and hanging participles is probably not the way to win over that prospective employer. So sure, grammar is a little bit arcane, and grammar snobs like myself can be a little overbearing at times about certain issues. But that doesn't mean that it's unimportant. So, bear with us. The first part of your assignment today is going to be a review of the parts of speech. I'm not going to insult you by going over all of them because I'm going to assume that at this point, as seniors in high school, you know the 8 parts of speech. You do know the 8 parts of speech, right? If you don't, that's okay. Well, it's not really okay. Surreptitiously look through the first section of the grammar book and remind yourself of what they are. Now, before we get too far into sentence construction, I want to talk about 2 things that are very near and dear to my grammar nerd heart. The colon and the semicolon. These oft misunderstood and misused punctuation marks are really, to me, the key of good writing. They're sort of shibboleth. If you're using colons and semicolons correctly, I can pretty much assume that you know how to use almost all of the English language correctly. Because the unfortunate reality is, so few people actually use semicolons and colons correctly that we can make some strong assumptions about those of us who do use them correctly. Put plainly, semicolons and colons can connect 2 independent clauses to demonstrate some sort of relationship between them. The semicolon indicates that the second clause has something to do with the first clause, and the colon indicates that the second clause answers an implied question within the first clause. We'll also get right out ahead of the game and start talking about one of my least favorite things that happens in writing, the comma splice. A comma splice occurs when you have 2 independent clauses joined together by a comma. Remember, I just mentioned you can join 2 independent clauses that are related to each other with a semicolon and look very smart. If, on the other hand, you try to join them with a comma, creating a comma splice, you do just the opposite. You look not as smart. In terms of wanting to understand sentence construction, truly the end game is being able to use punctuation correctly. That one who understands what an independent clause versus a dependent clause is will probably correctly use semicolons, colons, and commas. As I said before, one of the reasons that it's important to know your subjects and your predicates and what makes a complete sentence is that it helps you avoid sentence fragments. I can't put this any softer or more subtly. Sentence fragments make you look dumb. Effectively, all writing is persuasion. All of it is rhetoric. Whether you're writing an instruction manual on how to put together your bizarre new Swedish furniture, a recipe for the most delicious chocolate brownies in the world. Those brownies don't have nuts, by the way. Or writing an essay which explains why a poem means what you suggest that it means. All writing is persuasion. And if all writing is persuasion, then it all falls under the idea of the rhetorical triangle, which connects pathos, ethos, and logos. One of those tenets, ethos, is about the speaker's relationship to the audience, in which we ask, can the audience trust the speaker? In terms of academic writing, if you can't master the skills that you're supposed to have when writing academically, the audience has cause not to trust you. These are to be done individually, and you can hand them in when you're finished. Good luck.